Chapter 1.7, comparing types of income. So now that we've learned many different ways of getting paid, we want to compare. So really we're just using those same concepts again in this unit. In the try these, straight multiplication, you can see probably this is an overtime type of calculation. So getting paid time and a half for 40 hours of overtime in a month, let's say, with an hourly rate of $12.50. So you'll be able to use a calculator for this. So 1.5 times 40 times 12.5, $750. The next one, probably that's an annual salary. Dividing by 52 gives you a weekly salary. So 65,000 divided by 52 is 1,250 per week. Okay, so here's an actual example. Paul earns $9.40 per hour. Yvonne earns $8.10 per hour and gets time and a half for hours worked over 40 per week. Compare their incomes for working 50 hours 1 week. So again, remember these are pretty low hourly rates. This book was made a few years ago, and certainly Alberta is higher than some other provinces. But we're just going to use what's given. Okay, we're comparing. So no matter how many hours, Paul gets $9.40 per hour. Yvonne gets less for regular hours, 40, but then gets time and a half for any overtime, which is considered more than 40. So we'll see who makes more. So Paul earns $9.40 per hour for 50 hours in the week. So 9.4 times 50, that's 470. How much does Yvonne earn? Okay, so she earns $8.10 per hour for 40 hours. Okay, so I tend to show this in 2 steps. And then she has 10, so when we subtract 40 here, we get 10 overtime hours. Okay, so you can see that's the 10 here. So her hourly rate is $8.10, but she gets time and a half. So you multiply it by 1.5 and calculate what that is, and then add them together, right? Order of operation says you have to do multiplying before adding anyway. So sometimes I show this as separate steps in my work. The workbook has it all in one. So I'm going to do it in separate, just and put underneath. So 8.1 times 40, so that's 324 for her regular hours. So this is regular. And then overtime, so 8.1 times 1.5. You don't have to press equal because you're not asked for what the actual rate is. Let's do that whole calculation. So $121.50 for overtime, and then add them together. So I already have the 121.5, so plus 324 is $445, and so 445.5. Remember, money, we put the 0. So who earns more? Looks like Paul does. 470, 444. How much more? Okay, so we want to take the highest minus the lowest. Okay, and again, if you have it in your calculator, so you can go 470 minus this value, or in a graphing calculator like this, you might be able to copy it out. Even an older version of a TI, if you're just wanting to use the last entry, the last answer, then you can go second negative, which is answer. Okay, and it will put it in there for you. So 24.5, which is $24.50. So Paul earns $24.50 more than Yvonne. Okay. Next one, Sanjay is a waiter and John sells magazine subscriptions. Who has the higher gross annual income if they both work 50 weeks? So gross means the entire amount before any deductions. We haven't even talked about deductions yet. And annual means in a year. Okay, so just remember that's in a year. So assuming they work 50 weeks. So Sanjay earns $8 per hour, works 40 hours per week, and as well gets $300 a week in tips. John earns a weekly salary of $280, earns 4% commission, and the sales per week that he makes are $3,300. So we have to calculate the commission on that. This is not pay. So let's start with Sanjay. How much does he earn each year from his hourly wage? So $8 per hour for 40 hours a week for 50 weeks. So you can just do that one single calculation. So $8 an hour for 40 hours. You can press enter, but you don't need to, times 50. So 16,000. So you can see, again, not very much money for these days because $8 an hour is not even close to minimum wage. Earnings, it says, how much does Sanjay earn each year from tips? So tips for Sanjay is $300 a week, right? So 300, we only got his hourly wage there. So 300 a week by 50 weeks. So that's going to be 300 times 50. That's 15,000. Okay. And so then we want to add those together to get his total pay. So if you go to the next page, that'll be 16,000 plus 15,000. You can use your calculator, but you should get 31,000. Okay. So not a huge salary. Again, that minimum wage is now much higher. Now let's look at John. How much does John earn each year from his weekly salary? So he earns $280 a week for the 50 weeks. So $280 times the 50 is $14,000. Then how much does he earn each year from commission? Well, 4% of the 3,300 that he sells. Okay, remember of means multiply, and 4% is 0.04. So it's really 0.04 times 3,300. That's for 1 week, and he does that every week for 50 weeks. So 0.04 times 3,300 times 50. That's 6,600. Gross pay, you can tell it's not going to be even close. It's 20,600. Okay, so who has the higher annual gross income? So it just asked for who does, and that was Sanjay. It didn't ask for how much higher. Okay, and then example 2, Jody installs and repairs telephones. She earns $21.20 per hour plus time and a half for any hour she works over 40 in a week. Last week she worked 49. Aiden earns an annual salary of $43,000 as director of sales at a computer company. That would be higher these days. Who had the higher gross income last week? So this is pretty straightforward. There's no calculations to do for Aiden, but for Jody there is. So how much did Jody earn for the first 40 hours? So this is really calculating regular pay. So $21.20 for 40 hours. So $21.20, 20 cents for 40 hours is 848. How much did she earn in overtime for the week? So regular rate, and she gets time and a half, so we want to multiply that by 1.5, and then you have to figure out how many overtime hours. So subtract 40, and then you get 9 overtime hours. So $21.20 times 1.5 times 9 is $286.20. Always be careful that you don't put 49 hours. You've already calculated what she gets paid for the 40. So gross income, you want to add 848 and $286.20. So again, I have 286.2 in there, plus you can go up or you can just copy it out. It's almost as fast. $1,134.2, which we put the 0 on the end because it's money. What was Aiden's gross income for the week? So we do have to do a calculation for Aiden's income because it was given as an annual amount, and this question asked for comparing their weekly salaries, okay, their weekly income. So if it didn't say last week, then I would probably just convert Jody's to an annual, and then you can compare. But we will go weekly. Now, when you earn an annual income, a salary, then it's usually based on the 52 weeks in a year. If you work an hourly, you probably get 2 weeks of vacation, so you probably would say 50 weeks. So it's a little unclear. We'll tell you in a question or give you a chart what to use. In this case, for Aiden's gross income, I'm actually going to use 52 because it's given as an annual amount and there are 52 weeks in a year. So when I do this, 43,000 divide by 52, I get $826.92. If you were to use 50 instead, you would still get less than Jody's. You get 860. So if you use 50 weeks, you would get 860. Who had the higher gross income for the week? That would be Jody. Okay. And then I just wanted to do one question from the practice. Question 2, Mindy is an electrician and Bridget assembles computers. Mindy earns $24.50 an hour and a shift premium of $1.50 per hour for hours worked after 8 p.m. Last week she worked 45 hours, including 5 on Tuesday night. So we're going to assume that that's after 8 p.m. Okay. Bridget earns $6.25 for each computer that she assembles. How many computers must Bridget assemble in a week to match Mindy's gross income? So this is a little bit of working backwards. First of all, we want to calculate Mindy's gross income for the week. So we're going to go for regular pay. She earns $24.50 per hour for 40 hours. Okay, so we're going to subtract that because 5 of the hours were after 8 p.m. So she must have worked 40 regular hours. So that's going to be 24.5 times 40 is $980. Then her nighttime hours. So her rate is $24.50, but she gets a shift premium of $1.50. So you add the $1.50, it's not multiplied. Shift premium, remember, means you add this on. So that's why I have that in brackets. and then we're going to multiply by the 5. Okay, so I'm going to do that first in my calculator. 24.5 plus 1.5. You can probably do it in your head. That's 26, and then I'm going to multiply by 6. Separate line. Okay, if you have a graphing calculator like mine, you can do it all in one if you use brackets. So the brackets are just above 8 and 9. So then times by 5. Okay. Okay, so I got, oh, you know what I did? In the previous one, I multiplied by 6 instead of 5. So that's why I got a different answer. So I'll do the previous, when I do it in steps again, just so you can see. So that's my 26, and then I have to multiply by 5, not 6. So I get 130. So that was her weekly salary. Now, so this is per week. And so that's what we have to figure out, how many 625s there are in 130. So for Bridget, so this is for Mindy. I'll just put this over here. And this is for Bridget. Okay, so we want her pay to be $130, and she's going to get $6.25 per computer, right? And so we have to multiply by the number of computers. That's how we would get $130, right? So working backwards says the number of computers, it's just like an algebraic equation. This is like x. So we'd want to divide 130 by 6.25, and then in our calculator, go 130 divided by 6.25, and that'd be 20.8. It's not money, so 20.8 computers. So basically, you can't really make 0.8 of a computer, so we would say 21 computers. And then she would just earn a little bit more than Mindy. Okay, so that was question 2 in the practice. So that's it for 1.7.